In this video, I'll show you how to create particle dissolve effect in 3ds Max using TyFlow. So I'll start by creating a simple box. Set its values to 70 by 70. And I'll add 25 segments as well. Then I'll go ahead and place TyFlow object onto our scene and go to Open Editor. So we will start by creating birth objects. This will allow us to generate particles based on our geometry. Select the cube that we created, and then you can just hide the selection because we don't really need to see it. Next thing we want to do is to create face structure. Make sure it's set to polygons, 1 faces and 0 variation. So what it does is basically breaks the cube into individual faces, and it will allow us to work with each polygon separately. Next thing, we're gonna go back to your object and create a small sphere. And then place it somewhere in the middle but in front of our cube. Okay, in Open Editor, create surface test. Pick our sphere and set the absolute distance to maybe, I'll set it to 20. Also, I'll change the color of our geometry so we can see a little bit better. Okay, next thing we want to do is to create new event. Particle groups, and set simulation groups to 1. Also connect them. Okay, so what it does is basically helps us to manage the behavior during the simulation. Now you can see it that our sphere became an object of origin. Then we'll go ahead and create property test. In property test, you want to change test type to neighbor count. To neighbor count. Set the value to greater than and set it to 0. And make sure you also choose simulation groups 1 like we did in particle groups. So setting that absolute radius is quite important too. I'll go ahead and I think 10 is actually fine. So it kind of defines how close those neighboring particles, the sphere and cube, need to be for this test to pass. And I'll create time test. I'll also connect them all. Okay, so you can see how our particles slowly spread out. Okay, let's set value to 5 for variation value. Okay, now it's not that even. The next thing we want to do on the particles group, we can create shape operator and set it to 3D. Then I'll just choose cubes. So now you have created a nice little cubes. Okay, to work with that, we wanna create 2 scale operators. So the first one will be set to a higher number, so you want to create larger particles to start with, and then after that we want to change scale to absolute and set it to 0. So now if you see, it kind of makes particles disappear over time. So you also wanna set the timing to continuous and change interpolation to, I'll just do 0.4. So now we actually can see our cubes and it's dissolving really nicely with the shape on it. And the last thing I'm going to show you is if you add speed operator and set the direction to icon center out, and then I'll change magnitude to 2. It will kind of help particles to spread out from the center of the object. Let's play our animation and see how it looks now. You can also hide the sphere. Okay, so to make our particles actually go from the center outwards, you wanna unhide the box and pick the object. Then you can hide it back. Okay, so now you can see the way it dissolves. Magnitude 3. So now our animation works nicely. And that's it.